Welcome to Sightseeing Japan, the podcast where we explore the land of compulsory education. I'm Paul Bresson.
And I'm Jason Nealing, also known as Jason Chan. Right, Paul Chan?
You got it.
So, Paul, you remember that one Japan trip we did where we skulked around a high school for a while?
I wouldn't describe it that way, but yes, I know exactly what you're talking about.
I mean, it happened.
We explored the area around a high school.
I mean, we were kind of trying to keep it on the DL.
We were there for the high school, though. But that was when we were doing the day trying to find all of the sites from the Haruhi Suzumiya anime.
Yeah, we were in Nishinomiya, which is a town west of Osaka, and there are a ton of places that appear in the anime that are also real places in real life, including the high school. So
Yeah.
we took a hike up there. Also, the main character, Kyon, is always complaining about the hike up the hill to school, so we wanted to check that out and see how difficult it was. I do remember getting a bit sweaty.
Yeah, if he had to do that every day, I get it. He was legit. That was a hike. But we kind of just walked around the school. It was pretty cool because from some angles, it really did look like the school from the anime, obviously because they used it as the example for the drawings.
Yeah. I took a picture of some of the architecture that's like exactly like shots in the anime.
Yeah.
Without any people, of course.
You were very
Didn't
respectful.
capture any, yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah, I think we're going to be talking about anime a bit in this episode because if any of our listeners have an idea of what school in Japan might look like, it very well may have come from anime. There are a whole lot of anime that take place in Japanese high schools, middle schools maybe, or junior high schools.
Yep. Some video games too. Isn't like Persona 5
Oh, yeah,
partly
good point.
in a high school?
Definitely. I think even the entire Persona series, I think, is
Yeah.
about high school students, basically. So we're going to talk a little bit about the question of whether these portrayals in Japanese media are accurate. I'd think that in general, maybe the biggest difference between anime and real life is that most people in real life schools might not have enough time to get up to all the shenanigans that people do in anime.
Yeah. I think most of the stuff doesn't seem like it wouldn't ever happen in high school, but for all of those things to happen to those characters in a year or two seems really unlikely, probably.
Like everybody in anime seems to have such a rich social life because that's like the interesting stuff that's fun to watch, right? But I actually have a stat here, Paul. I read that the average student in Japan spends less than half an hour each day in social relations with peers outside of school.
I saw that too. That is not a lot.
No. And along with that, dating in high school is strongly discouraged by teachers and the parents. So most people don't even start dating until after high school.
Yeah, Japan takes education very seriously, and it's been one of the top performing countries in the world for quite a while, education-wise.
Yeah, they score really well, especially in the sciences, and enrollment is also very high. High school enrollment is over 90%, and college enrollment is over 50%.
I saw high school enrollment at almost 99%.
Wow.
And high school is not compulsory. It's compulsory up to high school.
Right.
But almost everyone then goes to high school.
So today we're going to be focusing on the experience of a Japanese student in a Japanese school up through high school. But if you're interested in learning about what it's like attending a Japanese university, maybe as an exchange student or a studying abroad type situation, we have another episode that I'll refer you to. That is episode 79. It was called Working or Studying in Japan. And we also talked about how post-secondary education works in Japan, just like how the whole system is structured. But that's going to be beyond the scope of this episode.
Wow, that was episode 79? That feels so long ago. I thought that would have been 20-something. Feels like that was years and years ago.
I know. I see ones in the early hundreds now where it's like, man, I thought that was forever ago.
Should we talk a little bit about the structure of the education system in Japan?
Yeah, like what ages do people go to school, for how long, that kind of stuff?
Yeah.
Well, no matter where you live in Japan, you're going to go through 6 years of elementary school, That would be ages 6 to 12. 3 years of junior high, which is ages 12 to 15. And then probably 3 years of high school, ages 15 to 18. Like you said, Paul, those last 3 years are not required by law. But that kind of schedule is consistent across every prefecture. And that's kind of a big feature of the Japanese education system is the standardization.
Yes. The curriculums are set at a national level so that individual schools don't have a lot of freedom in the curriculum that they're teaching. Even the textbooks are approved at the national level.
Yeah, there's a Japanese Ministry of Education that controls all that stuff. So prefectures have a lot less control over education than, for example, states in the United States do. Each year, Japanese students go to school 240 days of the year. That's 60 more days than they do here in the US.
So I saw that stat, but the math doesn't make sense to me.
Okay.
Because there's only, if I'm doing my math right, there's only 260 non-weekend days in a year. So that means there's only 20 days that they have off from school for the entire year. That seems like not quite enough, honestly. And I was unsure about, a lot of kids used to go half days on Saturday.
I was just going to say, I think that explains
doesn't really happen very often anymore. So I think maybe
it depends.
That's a little bit of an old number.
That's very possible. There definitely are still schools that have weekend classes.
I think it's mostly private schools now that do that.
And I think it's usually half days. Did you say that?
Yeah.
The weekends.
No.
Okay, well, the weekends, it used to be normal to have classes on Saturdays, or at least half days on Saturdays. Less common these days, but like I said, it depends on the school.
Yeah. But yeah, their breaks are definitely shorter than they are here, and they go to a lot of school.
I also kind of wonder how much that might take into account club activities. There's a lot of club stuff that can happen on weekends too.
True.
So you would be going to the school even if it's not like formal classes.
Yeah, that could be.
So Paul, you mentioned the standardized curriculum. There are also standardized tests. Those are a huge thing in Japan.
They're very focused on the exam scores.
All throughout the school years.
I think I saw that exams start in 4th grade. The first 3 years, they're teaching you to be a good member of society.
You're right.
But then you're 10 years old, and they're like, all right, now we're just going to ruthlessly rank you and grade you.
Yeah. And, we have standardized tests here in the U.S. too, but it seems like they're just taken way more seriously in Japan. And actually, this is a pretty big difference that in Japan, you take an entrance exam to see what high school you'll get into. So it's not like here where you just go to the high school that's in your district that's closest. Like you might even end up going to a high school that's really far away from your home just because your test scores weren't good enough to get into the one that's closer or something like that.
Or because it's a good school that will prepare you to get into a better university.
Yeah, you could decide to go further away.
But it's entirely 100% the test score. They don't care about your extracurriculars. They don't care about the essay you write. You either pass the test or you don't pass the test.
And public high schools will all use the exact same exam, but private schools can actually come up with their own exam. So that's to get into high school. And then to get into university, there are also university entrance exams, which are massive. It's like your whole education career is building up to this one exam, basically.
Yeah. And you have to be really careful, too, because each school has its own exam. So if you fail the schools that you're targeting, you don't get in anywhere. There's also students that take a year or two off because they fail the exam for the school they want to get into. And they just study and study and study all year and retake the entrance exam the next year.
So in the US, we have the SAT or the ACT. It's kind of it's a standardized test, but you can give that score to any school. And they'll kind of use that as part of your admission package, right?
Yeah.
But in Japan, this entrance exam can really be a huge factor in what the rest of your life is going to look like. It determines what type of school you're going to get into, which determines what career paths are going to be open to you.
Yeah, interviewing for jobs in Japan, it's very much what school did you go to? is incredibly important for how likely you are to get hired for a job.
Yeah. And just like the pipeline from school into a career seems kind of narrower or more restrictive in Japan. Like here, my career has nothing to do with what I studied in school. And I think that's the case for a whole lot of people.
Yeah. It's just get a degree, right?
Yeah.
And I think when we're picking schools here or for college, people are picking somewhere they want to be. In Japan, they're thinking a lot about the job placement percentages from that school. Like X percent of graduates get this tier of a job. And that's a big driving force for what schools they're picking.
Yeah. So because this entrance exam is such a big deal, cram schools are super common in Japan. This is like just extra schooling or tutoring to further prepare students for those exams. Approximately 60% of Japanese high school students attend a cram school.
Wow.
That's a lot. And Paul, like you said, some people might fail their university entrance exam. I thought it was funny that those people are referred to as Ronin. Did you see that?
Yeah. I've seen a few anime about Ronin as well.
In that context, the school Ronin?
Yeah, like their whole thing is they're studying to try to get into school next year.
Interesting. Do you want to explain where that term comes from historically?
That was the name for samurai without a master.
Yeah.
So not tied to a domain, kind of like wandering samurai.
Yep.
So yeah, it's not tied to a school. You're just a wandering student trying to get by in the world.
Another thing that's common to see tied to the importance of those entrance exams is omamori, specifically targeting academic success. You know what an omamori is, right, Paul?
No, what's that?
Those are those little amulets or good luck charms that you can get at temples and shrines.
Oh, yeah. They always have an academic success one or multiple academic success ones.
Yeah. So if you know a student, that you want to succeed, you can buy them a charm, or students might buy them for themselves. Another good luck charm that ties into this is the Kit Kats. You might have heard that Japan has a ton of different flavors of Kit Kats. They're really popular and easy to find all over the place. The whole reason that's a thing is because Kito Katsu means you'll surely succeed. So giving a student a Kit Kat is like a wish for their success.
How thoughtful.
Yeah.
Should we just go stand in front of a high school next time we're in Japan and hand out Kit Kats?
You can do that.
But it was your idea, kind of.
That was 100% your idea. You just said that.
Just trying to be friendly.
I wonder if it would be perceived that way. Maybe.
One
maybe it would go
one
well.
way to find out.
Yeah, you try it, and if it goes well, maybe I'll join you.
Okay. Maybe if I see some school kids on the train.
I don't know if that's better or worse.
I think it's better.
Okay, Paul. So let's walk through your average school day. We got Paul-chan, bright-eyed and bushy-tailed, walking up to the school. Well, actually, I want to start even before that. You're not walking up to the school yet. You're waking up. Your eyes just opened, and that dread hit you, where you're like, oh no, it's a school day. You know that feeling.
Yeah, but then I'm like, oh, I get to see Jason at school. So now I'm all excited.
Oh, you're so sweet.
So I pop out of bed, and I got to put on my uniform because almost all school kids in Japan wear uniforms.
Almost all junior high and high school students, anyway. I'm not sure.
You're right.
I don't think they're common in elementary school.
You got me there.
They get those little hats, though. Those fun little
the little
matching hats.
I'm a little kid hat.
But yeah, uniforms are a big thing in Japan. I mean, even outside of school. Like a lot of jobs will require you to wear a uniform.
Yeah. I'm a boy, so I would probably have pants and a collared shirt and a nice kind of blazer jacket type uniform.
It depends on the school, though. There are a lot of different styles of school uniforms, and they're also going to change as the seasons change.
Yeah, there's usually a summer uniform and a winter uniform.
Yeah. Paul, can we focus on the girls' uniforms for a second? Because I think a lot of people are probably familiar with that sailor-style uniform. You know what I'm talking about?
I do.
And I think there's an interesting history to that. Have you ever heard much about that?
A little bit.
It's kind of an unusual style. Like, Why would they be dressing like that? They got like the what do you call that thing, Paul? The thing that goes over your shoulders.
It's almost like a bib that goes up over your shoulders. It's like an extra piece of cloth over your shirt.
I was thinking it's like a tiny cape.
Like kind of. It's like shoulders kind of V's down the chest and like cuts off pretty high.
Yeah. Anyway, sailor style. Imagine, somebody in the Navy in the early 1900s. That uniform was actually introduced to Japan in 1920 by an American missionary named Elizabeth Lee. She was the principal of a Christian university in Fukuoka, and the uniform itself was inspired by British Royal Navy uniforms that this principal saw when she was an exchange student in the UK. Don't know exactly what was going on in her head where she made that connection, like, we should have these girls dress up like those sailors I saw in the British Navy. But that's what happened. And actually, there are also other school uniforms that are military inspired. Paul, you've seen those, the male student uniforms where it's got like the high collar and the gold buttons down the front.
Buttons.
Yeah. I mean, I guess the tie to the military just has to do with like discipline, right?
I think so. Also, I mean, this dates back to the Meiji period where uniforms started, and Japan was very militaristic. So some of that seeping through to the schools isn't shocking.
That's a good point. Yeah, for sure. But these days, a lot of schools have moved away from the military style and go more in the direction of like a Western Catholic school type aesthetic. Blazers. For guys, they'll have the pants, and girls would have the skirts commonly.
Lots of plaid skirts, sometimes even plaid pants for the boys or plaid blazers.
Yeah.
Find that interesting.
But beyond even just the uniform, the dress code can be really strict in other ways too. Like, I mean, you can't modify the uniform in any way. You're not allowed to wear jewelry or piercings. Girls can't wear makeup. And there can be rules about your hairstyle.
Yeah, you can't dye your hair, but beyond that, there's some styles that are allowed and some that are not.
But Paul, you might be forced to dye your hair.
Yeah, I guess if your hair is not the normal dark brown Japanese color,
yeah,
they will sometimes force you to dye it that so you don't stand out.
I remember there was a news story that got a lot of attention where a student who was like half Japanese had natural hair that was not black, and the school made this person dye their hair black to comply with the dress code.
I think that's fairly common.
Or there was a student whose hair started getting bleached from the chlorine in the pool because they were like in the swimming club or something, and the school made her dye it back to black. Like, this is just so extreme.
Yeah. The loose snail will get pounded in, right?
Yeah. I even heard that a lot of schools even have rules about the color of your underwear.
Who's checking that?
I think the idea is that, like, if you wear like dark underwear, it could be visible through your shirt. Like a girl, a black bra could be seen through like a thin white shirt.
Yeah. Well, they're out there. I mean, they've got rules about the length of your skirt and stuff too, so they probably have a measuring device that they bring out sometimes.
Yep.
Or how high your socks can be. All sorts of arbitrary rules. It probably varies a bit school to school.
So Paul Chan is going to be sure to choose the right color bra, and then once his uniform is on, he needs to behave. Like, once that uniform is on, he's representing his school, and these schools will actually have policies that still apply even when you're not on school grounds. Like, when you're just on the train or walking around town, you're a representative of your school and you can't embarrass them.
Yep.
We'll have policies like no chewing gum in uniform, no snacking outside of school, no reading books while walking.
Yeah.
That seems like kind of an
Well, it's so crowded in Japan, I think you can run into people or inconvenience other people.
True, but you'd also look very studious, don't you think?
Yeah, but there's a time and a place, Jason.
Okay.
And because the uniforms are unique to every school, it's hard to get away with these things because everyone can tell exactly what school you're from, and you'll get reported.
Yeah. All right, so Paul Chan is going to start making his way to school, and I really like that I'm not getting a lot of resistance to the Paul Chan
in
cute. This episode. It's cute.
I didn't love the bra comment, but I let that one slide. So I like biking, So I'd maybe choose to ride my bicycle to school, but it depends a little bit how far you're going. I think we mentioned earlier, sometimes depending on what school you get into, you might be commuting a long ways and have to take trains and buses. You might be able to walk to school. I think a lot of students do bike to school as well, but no one drives to school.
And school buses aren't really a thing in Japan.
Yeah, not a thing. Even elementary school kids, usually the elementary schools are closer, more neighborhood schools, but it's rare for an elementary school kid to be walked by their parents. Sometimes the kids walk in groups all together to school. That's part of a gaining responsibility growing up thing for them.
Yeah, I remember seeing like really little kids just running around Tokyo or being on the train by themselves or with a couple friends or
Yeah.
But yeah, it's kind of jarring, I guess, coming from America where it feels like, I don't know, people are just so, I feel like, overprotective of their kids these days. Like, children are not allowed to do anything on their own because people feel like it's dangerous.
Yeah, you see these stories about like people getting arrested because they let their 12-year-old kid walk to the park by themselves. And it's like, what are we doing?
Yeah. Yeah, the commute for students could be really long. I read that it's not uncommon for a student's commute to take an hour or more each way.
Yeah. Although it's not all lost time, as a lot of people sleep on the train. You could catch up to your sleep a little bit. You could maybe read your textbook or even try doing some homework if you could get a seat. Or you could just chat with your friends and have a little bit of social time.
Yep. All right, so when Paul-chan gets to school, he's going to have to change his shoes. He can't wear those gross outdoor shoes covered in dog poop inside the school.
Gross, dude. My shoes are not that dirty.
Maybe you weren't watching where you were stepping and something happened.
I was riding my bike.
I'm not judging you.
But you're right. You can't wear your dirty shoes inside. So there's a huge bay of small lockers where everyone has their inside shoes and they switch their shoes out. Sometimes they're even color coded where boys get blue inside shoes and girls get pink.
I saw them called school slippers.
Yeah, slippers, I think. Yeah, it's a better word. Indoor shoes.
And if I've learned anything from anime, it's that these shoe lockers are where, if you're lucky, you might find a little love note from a special someone who will make your heart go doki doki and kick off all sorts of charming romantic dalliances, right, Paul?
Or they're playing a prank on you. Get you all excited and you show up behind school and then they're all just laughing at you.
Ouch. Oh, man.
That never happened to me, though.
I'm glad to hear it. So once you get your school slippers on, you're going to make your way to your homeroom. And I thought this was a pretty interesting difference between Japan and the U.S. So here in the U.S., each teacher has their own room, and the students will go around to different rooms for each period, at least after elementary school. Back in elementary school, there's like one teacher that teaches every subject pretty much, right?
Yeah, I think up through 6th grade, we didn't move much.
Something like that. But in Japan, the students stay in one room, and then the teachers move around.
Yeah. And the teachers have a central teacher's room where they have all their desks and where they kind of operate out of.
Yeah, they have like office hours where students can come visit and ask for like extra help and stuff. So that's how it works, except for classes where a specific room is needed. Like obviously if they're going to gym class, they're going to go to the gym, or if they're doing science lab, there's a lab for that, right?
Yeah.
You also have assigned seats in Japan, which I think is also common here.
Yep. It's often as simple as just last name and just going in order or going by attendance number or something. They don't think too hard always about these. Another interesting thing about the homeroom is that they take care of the normal housekeeping stuff, such as attendance or announcements, but this is done by the students. They rotate the responsibility of who has to do these things every day.
Right. So it's like you have your own classroom and then you are responsible for taking care of that classroom, whatever that means.
Yeah, they kind of give ownership of that space to the students.
Yeah. So it teaches them teamwork and responsibility. So that's how the normal day starts. But if it's the beginning of the week, I saw that a lot of schools might have a school-wide assembly just to kick things off.
Yeah.
All right, so attendance taking, class announcements are done. Paul Chan's sitting there in the back left corner next to the window, right?
Oh, of course.
That's where
That's
the
the
main
seat.
character always sits.
Yeah.
And classes normally start around 8:30 a.m. In elementary school, each class is 40 to 45 minutes. In junior high and high school, they might be a little longer, like 50 minutes, and they're going to be short breaks in between. And most homerooms will have around 20 to 40 students each. 40 seems like a lot. I feel like when we were kids, I remember people complaining when a class was like 30 people. Like, I don't know, that might be too much.
Yeah. I think the older you get, the larger class sizes got here because people are more well behaved, theoretically. And then you get up to
Perhaps.
college and there could be like 150 kids in
it's
a
a big
class.
lecture
you
hall.
know, yeah.
Yeah.
There are 6 periods per day. The subjects will always, at least for high school, include math, social studies, Japanese, science, and English.
Yeah, that's an important point, is that every Japanese student is required to take English.
Yes.
So you might expect, when you go to Japan to visit, everyone just has perfect English, right?
No. And I wouldn't expect that, but you'd maybe expect that everyone has a little bit of English, but that's not the case. Although now that I think about it, like, okay, whatever language I studied for 3 years in high school, which is German, could I really say anything anymore? Not really. If I had a German person walk up to me and start speaking German, I would not be able to communicate very well.
Yeah. I took French. I remember un peu.
I think these days I'd be more comfortable trying to talk in Spanish than I would in German.
It's all your Spanish-speaking coworkers that you've had.
My restaurant days,
Yeah.
you know. So with all these mandatory classes, it doesn't leave a lot of room for elective classes. And I think they have rotating classes because there are like physical education classes, but they might not have them every other day because if you take those 5 mandatory classes, there's only 1 period left.
Yeah, that might be a place where the schools have a little bit of flexibility to decide how they want to do things. I saw that music and art classes might be things at a particular school.
Yeah.
And something called moral studies. I'm really curious what that curriculum is like.
Right. Is that maybe like a philosophy type class?
I'm not going to
perhaps?
speculate. I have no idea.
Okay.
But apparently there are also formal greetings for each class. Did you hear about this, Paul?
Are they different?
What do you mean?
Like I know you're supposed to like
Oh.
bow and greet the teacher when they come in. And
Yeah, no,
everything.
I don't mean that there's a different one for each specific class. I mean, for each class, when the teacher comes in, the whole class is going to stand up, you bow to the teacher, and you say, "Onegai shimasu."
Yeah.
Like, please teach us.
Your class rep kind of signals it sometimes, like
Hmm.
stand, bow, and you kind of follow along.
Makes sense. And then at the end of class, they do the same thing, but say, "Arigatou gozaimashita," meaning, thank you.
Very respectful.
All right, so adorable little Paul Chan has made his way through a few classes. Now it's lunchtime. So lunch, the situation depends on what kind of school you're at and the specific school you're at. At almost all elementary schools and junior high schools, lunch is provided by the school. But cafeterias are not common to see. So how does that work, Paul?
They'll make the lunches sometimes on school, sometimes not on school, and bring them in, but they go around and hand them out class by class, and then they eat lunch in their classroom.
Right. And if you've never seen a Japanese school lunch, I suggest you Google that.
It's actually good food.
Yeah, the pictures look amazing. And I actually remember in some other episode, we talked about how there's been a push to like keep traditional Japanese food in school lunches because they want kids to be used to that, to preserve Japan's culinary culture,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Like at one point, a lot of Western food was being introduced for school lunches, but people started to worry, like, what if these kids just get used to Western food and don't like or want Japanese food, and then all of our food culture just disappears, you know?
Yeah, so they hit them with the rice, fish, eggs, veggies, pickles. that are pretty standard in a Japanese cuisine,
Yep.
which also might be what you get if you bring a bento box that your mommy made for you in the morning.
Yeah, that's the most common situation in high school because high schools do not provide food generally. So students will bring a bento from home, which is a little box lunch, or there might be a shop at the school where they can buy food as well.
Or
But
eat out of a vending machine.
Sure, that's a possibility. And of course, if you bring a bento, everyone's going to be taking a look at your bento because the prettier your bento is, the more your parents love you.
Or if you're really lucky, you have a cute girlfriend that makes a bento for you.
Oh, man.
But you're not supposed to be dating, so
Exactly.
probably not.
That's right. But yeah, I'm half joking about that. That, like, the prettier your bento is, the more your parents love you because I feel like
It's kind of true.
it's kind of used that way. Like, if people see that their classmate has an amazing bento, it's like, oh, man, you're so lucky. Your mom is so awesome. And I've heard from Japanese mothers that it can be really stressful to feel obligated to like get up really early and make this just really elaborate, beautiful bento to send with your kid to school.
I feel like I wouldn't care that much. I'd be like,
here's a banana and a PB&J.
I'd be like, I'm not seeing the other kids at your school. What do I care if they think I'm a bad father?
Yeah. Doritos and Mountain Dew is good enough for me. It's
This
good enough for
sounds
you.
like your problem, dude. I usually brought my lunch to school, but when I didn't, it was like, oh, do I want the worst pizza in the world? Or do I want the worst hamburger in the world with soggy French fries?
Dude, I remember in high school, it was a whole new world because the cafeteria had stuff like nachos and, like you said, pizza. It was like Domino's pizza.
Stadium food.
They had Arby's roast beef sandwiches, like French fries with cheese. I ate so much garbage in high school. It was unbelievable that was allowed. And then they had like soda vending machines too. I mean, I know you lived on Mountain Dew.
I kept a 12-pack in my locker.
Yeah.
Because I was economical. That was way cheaper than buying out of the machines.
Your parents didn't buy that for you?
No, that was my hard-earned money.
All right. After lunch, Paul Chan has a few more classes. And towards the end of the day, he might be responsible for osoji, which is cleaning. As we said, the students are responsible for keeping their classroom tidy. So at the end of each day, students are responsible for sweeping the classrooms and the hallways, emptying the trash, wiping the blackboard, cleaning the erasers, all that stuff. There's usually a rotation system.
Yeah, they break up into little groups that each have an assigned task, and you rotate days so you're not doing the same thing all the time. Usually that's over by 4 p.m.
And then you're free and you get to go home and do whatever you want and chug as much Mountain Dew as you can get your hands on.
Go full Umaru-chan.
Yeah.
Get your cola and chips.
Best part of the day. Except that for most students, it's not the best time of the day.
Yes, club activities come next. Although that still might be the best time of the day.
It depends how much you like the club activities.
I really enjoyed baseball.
Yeah.
So most junior high or high school students will join a club, and they do the club activity until about 6 p.m. There are sports clubs, and there are musical or arts or science clubs.
Cultural activities.
Yeah,
too.
Cultural would be a good way to
There's really
say.
a wide selection of clubs you could be involved in.
Yeah. It's not too surprising. Popular sports clubs are going to be baseball, soccer, tennis, judo, volleyball.
Yeah, I mean, they have the modern team sports of Western origin, but they also have a lot of clubs for the traditional Japanese sports, which are more individual, I guess, combat-based things. Like you mentioned, judo,
Yeah.
kendo, which is swords, kyudo, which is the bow and arrow. Cultural activities might include things like chado, the tea ceremony, kado or ikebana, which is flower arranging, or shodo, which is calligraphy. I think that's cool that they teach traditional arts
Yeah,
to kids
absolutely.
to keep that alive.
Or if you're musically inclined, such as yourself, Jason, you could join a choir or a brass band or something along that lines. I don't think this is super popular, but I did see, as you might see in some anime, there occasionally are manga clubs. There could be literature clubs, whether it's reading or writing.
Mm-hmm.
Lots of cool stuff. I think it varies a bit school by school because students can start their own clubs usually if they can get enough interest.
Yeah, you can like apply to start a club and I think you need to find like a teacher to sponsor your club.
Yeah,
kinda.
and a few people to join it.
Yeah. So, Paul, like you said, most kids, almost all kids, are going to be involved in some sort of club. If you're not, you might be considered part of the Go Home Club.
Yeah. And it's the same, you're in the same club year round. There's no, I play baseball in the spring and I play soccer in the fall. You're in that club year round. And it's pretty rare to change too. If you join the baseball club when you get into high school, that's the club that you're going to be in the whole time. Not that you can't, it's just uncommon to change that club.
Yeah. We have club type things here in the US, but I feel like in Japan, they're much less casual than they are here. Like, people really take these clubs seriously and they can get very intense. We talked in our baseball episode about how crazy the training can get for that.
Well, that's what reminds me more of the sports teams. Like, my experience playing sports in high school was pretty serious. Like, you showed up on time every day. You were dedicated to the team. It's kind of like all these clubs have that attitude.
Yeah. Like I mentioned, there might be weekend activities involved as well.
Yeah, they often show up on Saturdays for practice. They sometimes even show up over summer break or times where there is no school to practice. There are often games or tournaments involving other schools, so they get to go out and meet other students as well. You mentioned you have to have a teacher to sponsor your club, but the teachers seem to be a little bit more hands-off, especially maybe with the cultural stuff. They kind of let the students run it a little bit more or determine the direction of where they're going with the club.
Yeah, I think that might be maybe the biggest difference between school in Japan versus school in the US is that in Japan, they really want to instill students with a sense of responsibility and autonomy. And here, students are really kind of babied.
You do exactly what you're told and you have no freedom.
Yeah.
I think that's one of the big things why I hated school here is I felt like I'm like growing up and becoming more responsible and you're treating me like I'm this base little child that you refuse to give any responsibility or agency to. And I rebelled against that.
Yeah. I get it.
Another interesting thing about clubs is, Japanese society, there's the senpai kohai, senior junior relationship.
Mm-hmm.
That becomes most prevalent in clubs because that's the most time where you're getting to know students outside of your grade level the closest. So you can get those really close kind of mentor-mentee relationships.
Very good point. Yeah. All right. So Paul Chan has finished up his practice at baseball club, and now he finally gets to go home and do a bunch of homework.
Yeah. About 2 hours of homework per weekday.
And I saw 3 hours on Sunday.
Yeah.
I mean, that's extreme. Like, you've basically taken up the entire day on school stuff. There's no time for anything else.
Right. If you're commuting an hour plus to and from school and you're at school for 10 hours with your club activity, and then you're eating dinner and then you're doing homework, then you go to bed. That's it.
It's pretty intense.
Or you just do what I did and just stay up late and not get enough sleep.
Or you just become a delinquent and skip out on all that junk.
Yeah. Or, if you're really smart like Jason, you got all your homework done at school.
That's the secret. That's how you carve some time out for yourself. Or you just stay up super, super late and sleep in math class.
There you go. Well, that was our school day. So should we kind of walk through the school year? Any major events that pop up?
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff that happens to kind of mark the passing of time through the school year. But even just the schedule, the way that these semesters happen throughout the year is very different than it is here. Most schools here in the U.S. have 2 semesters, no matter what level of school you're in. But in Japan, most schools have a 3-semester system instead. It is also possible for there to be 2, but I think 3 semesters is most common. And that also means that there are 3 breaks throughout the year, but they're not as long as the summer break here in the U.S. So more breaks,
But
but
less
shorter.
total time off.
Yeah,
But we have a winter break here and a spring break here. They don't always line up with the semesters.
that's true. That's true. So in Japan, the first semester starts in April. This would be right around cherry blossom season, and a lot of schools have cherry blossom trees around the grounds. It's kind of cool how, I mean, Japan is proud of their 4 seasons. We've talked about that in a lot of different contexts, right? And I kind of like the idea that, like, you show up to school in April on the first day, maybe the cherry blossom petals are falling, and it's just like, a temporal landmark.
Yeah, spring is about rebirth. It's a perfect time to start a new year, something new.
Yeah. We did an episode about cherry blossoms and hanami, cherry blossom viewing. If you'd like to learn more about that, you can go check out episode 51. So Paul-chan shows up on the first day of school. What's going to happen, Paul?
I'm going to have to go to the entrance ceremony, or New Gaku Shiki. I did my best.
Sure. This is probably going to be held in the school gym,
Yep.
and it's really a pretty formal event. I read that returning students and parents will be seated first, and then the new students all file into a round of applause.
Yeah. It's very ceremonial, very scripted.
Yeah.
Usually the principal will make some opening remarks, encouraging the students, setting expectations, wishing for a good year. Nothing unusual there. Homeroom teachers get introduced. Usually one of the older returning students will make a welcoming speech. Also, a student on behalf of the new students at the school will also give a speech.
I wonder how they select that student.
My impression from anime, at least, is it's like maybe the top test score entering or something like that.
That's what I would assume. So not Paul-chan.
Hey, I'm good at tests.
Oh, right.
So maybe Paul Chan. And singing. You got to sing the school song.
Yeah. The returning students, anyway.
Yeah, the new ones are trying to learn real quick.
Right.
Afterwards, you're going to go with your homeroom teacher, and they're going to bring you to your classroom and get you your textbooks and kind of just explain how everything's going to go. Maybe take your class photo for the year.
That's what I was going to say. Yep. Cute little Paul-chan right in the front.
I'm tall. I'd be in the back row.
But Paul-chan. Little Paul. Were you always tall for your age?
Always.
Okay.
I never had a growth spurt. I was just always tall.
I guess I was too. Also, at the beginning of the year, that's when clubs are going to be recruiting. They'll be putting up posters. There might be an event early in the year where the clubs can explain what they do, try to rope people in.
Yep.
So April goes by. Paul-chan's getting used to things. Around the end of April to beginning of May, students get a short break for Golden Week, which is a cluster of national holidays. Workers also get a break from work at that time, so this is a really common time for families to take vacations and travel, which is why we advise visitors to Japan to avoid going in that time, or at least be aware of that. Things are going to be really busy.
Yeah, with all the combined holidays, schools are often closed for 7 or more days in a row during Golden Week.
Then in May, there might be a field trip of some sort called ensoku. Whole classes might go on trips to the seaside or to the mountains, or maybe it's more like a trip to a factory or a newspaper office to see how the adult world works. Paul, I remember when I was it might have been elementary school, and we took a field trip to a potato chip factory. I thought that was really cool.
Oh, wow.
Like the old Dutch factory.
Okay. I remember going to like some nature reserves and some museums. I think we went to Orchestra Hall.
Cool.
Yeah. Some fun stuff. Yeah. Really good stuff.
Yeah, I would think For any student, that's probably a thing to look forward to.
Oh, getting out of school for
Yeah.
anything, yeah.
Yeah. And in the year you're going to graduate, you might go on a longer overnight field trip, often to historic cities like Kyoto or Nara. I remember in the school anime, Azumanga Daioh, they did a trip all the way to Okinawa.
Yeah,
And I heard that some schools even do trips to other countries.
yeah. It varies by school and even maybe by year. But I did see that oftentimes if your school's in a big city, you're more likely to go rural. Like maybe you go to the mountains. And if you're at a rural school, you're more likely to go to Kyoto or Tokyo or something to kind of see the city.
Cool. Get some new experiences.
Yeah. But the overnight trips are led by the teachers. And it teaches you different things, I think, depending on your grade. Like the elementary school ones are more about keeping an itinerary, staying together, working as a group. And then as you get into middle school and high school, they split you off into small groups, and you sometimes get free time that you get to choose what you're doing. And it helps you figure out how to work in groups and how to operate without supervision.
Yeah, and a really common experience for tourists in Japan, especially at those big historic sites in those big historic cities, is to have a group of students come up to you and start asking you questions
Yeah.
in English because they're on their little field trip and they have assignments that they have to do.
Nothing against those kids. I've helped them out a few times, but up to the point where I'm like, all right, I need to start pretending I speak German or something.
Jeez, Paul, that's so mean.
Hablo español? No English.
Get out of here, kids. I'm too busy for this.
It might be mean, but I always feel like, you know what? I did my time. I took one for the team 2 or 3 times. Someone else's turn.
No, I always have fun with that. I think it's entertaining.
Okay. I'll point them to your way next time.
And I make up some real weird stuff about myself, you know? And like, where are you from? Antarctica. What's your favorite thing in Japan? Godzilla.
You're going to get these kids in trouble. The teacher's going to be like, you made these answers up. Nobody would say these things.
What was your favorite attraction in the city? The gift shop.
Riding the subway.
Vending machines. I bet for a lot of people that is actually their answer.
Yeah.
Anyway, in late May or early June, midterms are coming up for poor little Paul Chan. At least if he's in junior high and high school. I guess we haven't established how old you are in this scenario.
I'm wearing a uniform,
Okay.
so I'm at least that old. Well, let's say high school.
I forgot about that. Yeah. Well, that makes sense because there are no midterms or finals in elementary school anyway.
Yep.
So you'd have to be in, let's say it's freshman year of junior high.
But I'm not losing any sleep. I'm nailing my midterms. I was still a good student in junior high.
You didn't go to junior high, right? Here
We called it middle school.
Well, here there are middle schools and there are junior highs.
Ooh, I went to middle school.
In junior highs, do they call the first year freshman year? Is that, or is it just
I think they call it
First.
8th grade or whatever, 7th grade, whatever year it is.
okay? Well, anyway, so Paul Chan gets through midterms, no problem. Aces all of them, and now he's the new class rep.
Oh, okay.
Is that how that works?
Not quite.
No, I don't think that's even based on grades, right?
I think they
It's
vote.
it's like a nomination thing.
Yeah.
Well, in late June, for gym class, you might start using the swimming pool. A lot of schools in Japan have pools, which is relatively uncommon here, I'd say.
Yeah.
Our high school had that myth about the pool on the 4th floor.
Never found it.
Yeah, there was no 4th floor.
Yeah, our swimming pool was at one of the middle schools, the one that I didn't attend. So I never did swimming in middle school or high school.
What? Are you saying that for like the swimming sports, they bust people over to the middle school to use the pool?
Yep.
Oh.
That's
Which
exactly
middle
what
school?
they did. Heritage.
Oh. I don't think I ever even went to that school. I have no idea what it looks like. I heard a lot about it. Anyway, irrelevant. So yeah, the pool. You know, the pool's been sitting there getting gross since the last pool season, so before the kids start using it, they got to clean it. I've definitely seen that in school anime.
Yeah.
Now they all get together with their big scrubby brushes and clean up the pool together.
But I wonder who gets assigned that. Like, you can't take the whole school. some unlucky class has to be the one that has to clean the pool.
Yeah, I guess so.
Probably first years, so it's me out there.
Yep.
But once the pool's cleaned, you typically get 4 to 5 swim lessons during the season. The idea is to promote water safety and basic survival skills and teach them how to tread water and eventually get up to the point where they can swim at least 25 meters unaided.
You feel comfortable in water, Paul?
I love swimming.
Me too.
But my parents taught me when I was very little. So
Yeah, I
I've
was
been swimming my whole
fortunate.
life.
I took a lot of swimming lessons as a kid, so I'm very at home in the water.
I actually don't know if I told you this. I was the dumbest little kid because I loved water so much. When I was like a little toddler, I would jump in pools. Every time we got to a hotel, my parents would turn their back for a second and I'd be zooming to the pool, jumping in with all my clothes on. And they'd have to fish me out so I didn't die.
And you were never afraid of drowning?
Apparently not.
Wow. But man, hotel pools, why were they so awesome? Like every time we stayed at a hotel, it's always like, we're going straight to the pool.
Pools
That
are
was
just
like always
fun
so
when
much
you're
fun.
a kid.
Yeah, definitely.
I care less now. Still like them, but not quite as exciting.
I would go to a pool if I were willing to pay for access to one. Anyway, okay, July. What happens in July, Paul?
Late July, summer break begins.
Well, before that, you got to suffer through those final exams.
Oh, yeah. Of course, every semester has to end in final exams, huh?
Yep. And then after Paul aces his final exams, he's going to have a closing ceremony to attend for that first semester. Everything's very formal, you know? Semesters don't just start and end. There's always like a clear delineation where you got the ceremony to make it all official.
Yep.
So summer break is from around July 20th to the end of August, so about 6 weeks. Like we said, not as long as the summer break we get here in the US, but still the longest break of the year. And at the beginning of this break, there might be a kind of summer camp thing that's organized by the school. Did you read about this, Paul?
No. I've seen clubs that do like overnight training camps and things.
That could be too. I saw that a lot of schools have this short summer camp thing. It's usually like 3 to 4 days long. It might be in the woods or by the sea, depending on the location of the school. I saw it was even called like School in the Woods or School by the Sea.
Okay.
And, you know, it's just a chance for kids to have fun together outside, go hiking, learn how to make a campfire, that kind of stuff. But then there are also longer summer camps available that aren't affiliated with the school. You know, if Paul Chan's parents wanted to just bus him off somewhere else so he wasn't getting in the way all summer, right?
Oh, yeah, they definitely want to do that.
Did you do like camp stuff?
I did quite a bit when I was like elementary age, yeah. Yeah.
I never went to a summer camp.
Oh. I had fun. I enjoyed them. I never felt like I was like, oh man, I got to go here. It was like we canoed and built fires and did fun stuff.
That does sound fun. Summer in Japan is also the time for a bunch of festivals, fireworks. Obon is a holiday that happens in there. But also during summer break, students will likely have a bunch of homework, which sounds awful. Like to get that during summer break.
Yep. And I'm the one doing it the last 2 days before the new semester.
Yeah. But Paul, that's how you end up with a summer that repeats thousands and thousands of times, right?
Not if you all do your homework together.
Oh, okay. That's
That's
the
the
lesson.
key, yep.
I see. That was a Haruhi Suzumiya reference. Yep.
And it might not be the last.
All right, second semester. This starts in early September. Again, you got an opening ceremony for that new semester.
Not quite as elaborate because you don't have new students coming.
Yep. And Paul, what's going to happen on that second Monday of October?
That is going to be Sports Day.
Yeah. And this is something that you'll see in like every school anime, right?
Yeah.
It's a really big deal. What I didn't realize is how consistent this was, like the date. It's always the second Monday of October. That's not necessarily the day that the school like celebrates it and has their sports day, but it's actually the second Monday of October is a national holiday. Did not realize that.
I didn't either.
It was established in 1966 to commemorate the 1964 Olympics, which were held in Tokyo.
Nice.
Those are from October 10th to 24th. So I think they changed the date at some point. But anyway, right now it's always held on the second Monday of October. And in keeping with its origin of the Olympics, schools essentially just hold a mini Olympics on the school grounds. And students compete in track and field, tug of war, sack races, three-legged races, that kind of stuff.
Yeah, and I think they do like classes as teams sometimes. So you can earn points for your class based on the events you go to, and you see who wins at the end of the day. Sounds like a lot of fun.
It does. Yeah.
This is something that parents can come to.
Right.
So that you can get a little glimpse of your school life.
Yeah, it's cool.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right. October.
I take another field trip.
Sure. There's usually a spring one and an autumn one. Then in late October, you're going to have midterms. November 3rd, there's another national holiday that figures into school life in a big way.
Culture Day.
Yeah. Another one that always appears in school anime.
Yep.
So the national holiday commemorates the announcement of the Constitution of Japan, which was on November 3rd, 1946. But the way that manifests in school life is a little different.
Yeah, schools usually have a 2-day festival where each class will prepare a special program, which can vary wildly. Usually it gets heavily dictated by the class too. The teacher might give some instruction, but the classes decide what they want to do. Some common things are food or snack booths that the class will run together, or doing dances or theater, or setting up a video or VR exhibition. Lots of fun stuff.
Yep, the clubs can show off what they've been working on, performances and stuff.
Yeah, especially the culture clubs. This is their time to shine.
Yeah.
Individual student groups too. Like if you have a band with some friends at school, you could do a performance here.
Yeah, maybe there's a talent show type of thing.
You're likely to find some yakisoba if you're walking around a culture festival. And I did see that, because you see this in anime all the time, but it's not quite as common, but there are haunted houses and maid cafes that happen at these.
Yeah.
Like that is not entirely anime made up.
But extremely common in anime.
Yeah, it's like the number one thing is like maid cafe, I feel like.
Yeah. Well, you got to show those main characters in cute maid outfits. That's really the whole point of that episode.
Right. This is something that's open to the public too, so even students from other schools can come attend. So it can be really fun. If you had friends from middle school that you went to a different high school, then you can go to their schools and kind of check out what they're doing and meet up with them and catch up. And
yeah. And did we say this normally happens on a weekend? So the students from other schools are free to be able to show up.
Yeah. Yeah. And they prepare heavily for this. They take a lot of time out of class, I believe, to work as a class to get ready for this.
Yeah.
Which is, I think, why it happens after midterms. Because the test is kind of out of the way. Now we could relax a little bit and prepare for the culture festival.
Yeah. That's cool.
Yeah, sounds like a lot of fun.
Definitely. In late December, the second semester ends. Of course, you got those final exams again. You got another closing ceremony. And then it's winter break.
Which isn't too long. Maybe a week or two, late December to early January. Kind of goes over the New Year. New Year is a really big holiday in Japan.
Yeah, for sure. Fortunately, you probably won't have homework for this break.
That's nice.
Yeah. If you want to hear about how Christmas and New Year's are celebrated in Japan, it doesn't tie closely into school life, but we did a couple episodes specifically about those holidays, episodes 24 and 25, respectively. Ready for third semester, Paul John?
Yep, going to my opening ceremony yet again.
Home stretch. So early January, third semester, got that opening ceremony. Then what?
Then you're going to have to prepare for your entrance exams.
Oh, no.
If you're in your last year.
Oh, Paul John's, he's good. He's got a couple years before he needs to worry about that.
Yeah, so if in a couple of years I'll have to decide what high schools I want to target, and your teachers and your parents sometimes help you with that. You take practice tests so you can kind of see which test you're likely to be able to pass. So they'll guide you to a school that's in your level so that you're likely to get accepted.
In those cram schools that we mentioned, sometimes those are even focused on a specific school. Like they're preparing you for the test for that school.
Yeah, which is kind of crazy, but that's cool too. If you're at the end of high school too, that you've got, we had mentioned earlier, your all important entrance exams to college or university as well.
Yep. So I'd say in general, the third semester seems to have less big school event stuff going on. There are a few holidays around this time of year, like Setsubun, but they don't really figure into school life a whole lot. I guess one thing that might is Valentine's Day and its related holiday, White Day, which is in March.
Yeah.
Things work a little differently with those holidays than they do here. On Valentine's Day, girls give chocolate to the guys, and then on a White Day, which is a month later, exactly a month later, guys are supposed to reciprocate threefold.
Yeah.
And it gets really deep. There's a whole thing around this.
We did an episode on it.
Yep, that's episode 69. Oh, Paul, you're so immature.
We did not do that on purpose.
Nope, we didn't. But yeah, there are different types of chocolate depending on how close you are to a person.
I'm really happy to get some chocolate, but then they make it very clear that, Paul, this is just friendship chocolate.
Everybody gets this. You're not special in any way.
And they're only giving it to me so that I can give them 3 times back on White Day.
Yeah, very self-serving. Don't read into this. And then you get a special little note in your locker specifically saying, don't read into this, Paul Chan. This isn't what you're thinking.
But chocolate's chocolate. Hey, I'll take it.
Yep. All right, so you got your finals, maybe your entrance exam.
Yep. Passed my finals. So now we're going to have the end of year / graduation ceremony. And this is a big one. This is a big deal. Because Japanese students work really hard to pass their entrance exams and get into their next school of choice. So they really get to celebrate. Like, it's a big accomplishment for them. So usually people dress really formally for these. Parents might even wear kimono or suits for this, and all the students are wearing their finest pressed uniform. And this is kind of the reverse of the opening ceremony, where all of the parents and the younger students enter first, and then the graduating students walk into the applause and cheers. And these get very tear-jerky, very emotional, right? They go for that here. So they give speeches and talk about the accomplishments of the year and how they're going to miss each other and shed some tears.
I kind of like it, you know? Like, I remember in school going to the graduation ceremony and everything, and I thought it was all kind of cheesy and dumb and pointless. But I feel like as I've gotten older, I've gained more of an appreciation for ceremony and like tradition and those little events that mark the passage of time.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Maybe just because it's becoming more evident to me that time is limited and you got to like...
I've definitely noticed that you've gotten like more into holidays.
Yeah.
You know, but the seasonality of the year is one of the cool things about life on Earth. I think I didn't have enough perspective to fully enjoy this when I was young, because like in my mind, school was easy. In my family, everybody had a college degree, much less a high school degree. I took it for granted. You know, for some kids, this was an accomplishment. This was a really cool thing they did. For me, I was just flippant and uncaring about it, but I probably should have treasured it a little more.
Yeah.
Live and learn.
Yeah.
Students bow when they get their diplomas rather than the handshake, but I think that's not surprising for Japan.
Yeah.
There's more singing. And then at the end of the ceremony, the graduates walk out first and everybody cheers and applauds them. And then everyone goes outside and they all take photos. Got to get your photos with your friends, with your teacher, with your club mates to remember it. Because you're never going to see each other again.
Sure.
How many of your high school friends did you ever see again after high school?
A fair number, I'd say.
Okay.
I don't see a whole lot of them now, like still, but
Yeah.
in the first few years after high school ended, I feel like I saw quite a few people.
I feel like the summer I graduated, I did. And then maybe like 5 of people ever after that. But that's how life goes. You
I
make
mean-
new friends and you move on.
Yeah. Man, getting all contemplative now, just thinking about life and the stages of life and
Yeah.
all that.
You got that deep thought look on your face.
Yeah. Well, anyway, so that's the end of school year, and then you got a break until the beginning of April when a new year will start.
And that is school life in Japan.
It is. And even though it sounds kind of stressful in a lot of ways, a lot of people in Japan seem to look back on it with a bit of nostalgia. Paul, you remember episode 30? It was like yesterday, right?
No, not at all.
That was the one about themed cafes, and I remember we talked about one. I mean, there are multiple
There was
cafes
like the
that are
high school cafe or something? Or just the school?
they have cafes that are themed like a classroom.
Yeah, and you got like the school lunch type of thing.
Yeah.
I do remember
Yeah.
that. I do occasionally look back somewhat longingly on my teenage years, but it was like playing baseball and like hanging out with my friends in the summer. It's never about like
Hmm.
when I was actually in school.
Yeah.
I feel like I
don't
look
know.
back on college more fondly.
Yeah, I don't really I don't wish that I could go back to high school or college. I just wish that when I was in those places, I had more like self-confidence and stuff and just like the perspective that I do now. you know?
Yeah. But that's how life is.
That is how life is. You only get one chance.
I'm 100% in the camp of life is better as an adult. There are some things
Definitely.
about being a kid that you can't capture again, but the freedom of being an adult is the bee's knees.
That's an odd way to put it, but I agree. I agree.
I was trying to keep this from becoming an explicit episode. Doing my best here.
Welcome to PB&J After Hours. What's up, Paul? You got something to talk about?
Yeah. I'm getting bad, dude. I know I keep talking about One Piece, but I'm getting more and more into One Piece.
Yeah.
I'm like a little over 150 episodes in now, and I'm like, I feel like I'm gaining momentum. I was afraid
What
of
does
One
that mean?
Piece all these years because I thought like it's too much to get through. And now I'm like 10% of the way through or a little over, and I'm like, I want to keep watching this show forever, dude. Like, I feel like the speed I'm watching it is just going to keep picking up.
You're at the point where like all the characters just feel like friends and it feels really comfortable to be in that world. Is that it?
Yeah. And it's just great storytelling.
Hmm.
Like, it is really wonderful storytelling. Character development. It can be stupid and repetitive, but it's just a great story.
Cool. Well, now
Yeah.
I wish I could be there with you.
Yeah. We'll catch up real quick.
Nah.
That's what I said. And
I got other
then,
things to do. Maybe someday.
Yeah, and like some of the newer characters, I'm like really interested to learn more about their backstories. I'm fired up, dude.
Yeah. You should call up Jesse. That you guys could talk about it. Shout out to Jesse. I know he's a big,
Jesse D. Luffy.
big.
Or
What?
I think that's his handle or something on Discord.
Oh yeah.
Because Monkey D.
I-
Luffy is the main character of One Piece. In case that went over your head.
It kind of did go over my head. Sorry.
Okay. Yeah, next time I see Jesse, I know what we're talking about.
Yeah. And I'll feel all left out on the side, like, oh.
You been watching any anime?
Not a lot. There's this one called Bartender. You heard of that?
No.
I read the manga before it was turned into an anime. It's kind of an unusual one. It's like about a bartender. He's like just this legendary bartender that knows exactly what drink to make for people. And so like it's sort of about bartending and mixology, but it's more about people's individual stories and how certain drinks connect to certain memories or like important parts of their life or whatever. I don't know. It's interesting. It's different.
I still think the smell of tequila definitely brings up some certain memories
Yeah.
for me.
Yeah. Or Keystone Light or what were those?
It's like Natty Ice.
Yeah, Natty Ice, that one.
Kharkov vodka.
Yeah. The faint taste of ping pong ball from all the, you know.
Is alcohol like music, where it's one of those things that can really just take you back?
Maybe. But actually, I had something else I wanted to talk about today, too. Something I've been playing a lot, a game.
Of course. You got another one for us.
So you may recall, Paul, in some past episode, I mentioned Mario's Picross.
Mario's
Picross.
Okay.
You know how I've been using emulators on my phone to play these retro games, right?
Yep.
Well, Mario's Picross, I won't go too deep into it because I already talked about it, but it's a puzzle game. These puzzles are called nonograms. I was unfamiliar with this, but they're just these little grids, and it gives you numbers, and you have to figure out you have to like carve out certain squares in this grid, and it turns into a picture. So I was enjoying the Mario one, but then I discovered a couple more modern games that use that same concept, the same type of puzzle, but these ones, Paul, they're Hatsune Miku themed.
Okay.
So there's Hatsune Miku Logic Paint S, and it has a sequel, Hatsune Miku Logic Paint S Plus. I bought both of them as a bundle. I'm just finishing up the first one, and I haven't gotten into the sequel yet. I'm saving it for myself, but they're really fun. Like if you're into any logic puzzles, like Sudoku or other, I don't know other types of logic puzzles, but you know what I mean, right? If you like that, you'll probably like this kind of thing. And if you like Hatsune Miku, this is fun because the pictures that you like, each puzzle lets you unlock a picture of one of the Vocaloids, and it's fun. You unlock Vocaloid music too, and I've been playing it on Nintendo Switch, which I think is the perfect platform for it because you can just pick it up and play for 2 minutes or even 30 seconds and set it down. And it's nice to have that kind of game. You know
that
what
is
I mean?
Nice, yeah.
I can sit on a work call and keep my hands busy. If my boss is listening, just kidding. I don't do that. Yeah, it's a very chill game. You just get in the zone, listen to a podcast or whatever. It's good stuff.
Nice. Where can people find more of us online, Jason?
Oh, you can find us places. We got a website, sightseeingjapanpodcast.com. You can find us on Patreon, patreon.com/sightseeingjapanpodcast. There's also a link to that in the show notes. Speaking of which, before we go, we have to thank our Shogun level patrons, Doug Whitfield, Georgette and Caitlin Seymour, John W., Kelly Ardong, Pamela Arola, Jack, Brady K., Yasmin, and Kevin Harris. Thank you all so much.
Thank you.
And thank you, Eric, our emperor.
Thanks, Eric. And while we're talking about Patreon, I think I should mention that we have itineraries on Patreon that we sell that you do not have to be a patron to access.
That is a good thing to mention.
We use our experience and all of our research to craft really nice itineraries for some of the most popular cities in Japan that can help give you context to where you're visiting and lay everything out in here are the must-sees and a really logical way to get around the cities.
Don't undersell them, Paul. They're not just, what did you say, very nice?
Yeah.
They're perfect. These are perfect itineraries. You can't find a better itinerary anywhere else in the world.
Okay, someone's going to go find like a missing period on one of these. It'd be like, they're not perfect.
Disclaimer, if they're not perfect,
that was Paul's section.
Keep it to yourself.
All of Jason's sections are perfect.
Yeah.
Mine are very, very good.
Yeah, you can tell the difference in tone. No, I'm kidding. It's all perfect. Well, Paul, what's coming up next time?
Our next episode is forest bathing.
I'm excited for this one.
I am too. If you've never heard about it, don't worry. I hadn't either, but trust me, it's cool.
We might even have some cool foresty sound effects to make this one extra immersive.
Ooh, I love the sound effects.
Yeah, we'll see what happens.
Okay.
Well, thanks for listening. We shall see you next time.